Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Armada University. I have a feeling some of you might have been joining us throughout today. Who's been to some of the other sessions? Welcome back, welcome back. And to anybody who's coming here for the first time, welcome. My name is Carly Wilford. I'm a DJ and music producer. I release on Armada. And today has just been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much to all of you who have come by and joined us. If you were here last year, you might have seen us in this very room in a very similar situation as Armin broke down some of his tunes. Today we're switching things up, and I feel really, really excited and blessed that he's going to be showing us how he prepares his DJ sets. So ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest and best producers and DJs in the world, Armin van Buuren. Woo! How are you?
Very well, thanks. Yeah, it's cool to be here. ADE is always a bit hectic. It's a lot of meetings and a lot of fun parties and yeah, having an amazing time in general. Yeah, excited for this one. So shall we dive in?
Absolutely. So when it comes to doing a DJ set, where do you start?
That's a good question. Well, I used to start with going to the vinyl store. I don't DJ with vinyl anymore. Today I did. But that was an exception because I all DJ digitally now. So I want to go over a little bit the way that I prepare my DJ set. I want you to go into my head. I want to start by saying that there is no right or wrong in this way. Feel free to use whatever you think works for you musically and the way that you're inspired. This laptop is my baby. Any music you heard from me in the last 4 years, any radio show, any production, it's all made with this one. It's an Apple MacBook Pro M1 with 8 terabytes of internal memory. So I've got all my sample libraries on here. It's absolutely amazing. And I thought it would be cool. I've never actually done this to show you how I work. And I'm a little bit of a nerd. So I've developed sort of a system. And so I haven't really prepared this in the sense of that I know exactly what I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to show you the tools that I use to prepare my DJ sets. So, you know, I have sets on massive festivals. I have 3-hour sets I play at other events. And how do you go about preparing your DJ set? I thought that would be an interesting topic for you guys. And let me see, how many of you are actually DJing right now or aspiring DJs? Well, there you go. I think you all have a system, right, that you work in, and I think we have to go a little bit over the boring stuff, which is BPM and keys. I think we have to go into that a little bit. And I'll explain you what my system is. Again, if you have another system that you organize your music, that's absolutely fine. This is not, nobody told me to do this. I've really invented my own system of organizing my files and preparing my DJ sets. So as I also do a radio show, I have a lot of files. People send me a lot of files. And I've thought of a system that I started in 2004 when I basically switched from vinyl to CDs and then later to USBs. And thank God I did that. I started by every MP3 that I got and every file that I got. I converted everything to 16 bits 44.1. Why? Is because I use my files not only for my USBs, but I also use it for production. I use it for radio shows. I use it for mixes. So my file library is like my record box. And you want your record box to be clean. You want your record box to be sorted out. And you want everything to be nice and neat so you can quickly find something. I think I want to start by saying that, ladies and gentlemen, please do me one big favor and buy an external hard drive to back up your shit. I cannot say this enough. I spoke to a guy yesterday. I won't mention his name, but he's a good friend of mine. We worked on tracks together. He lost all his files because he thought, my MacBook's not going to crash. These things, they crash at the worst possible moment. Don't say I didn't warn you, because I've lost so many of my productions, my files, everything, due to crashing MacBooks. And I know even if you have a brand new one, it can be stolen. Your wife can accidentally drop it, or you can have coffee in the morning, you spill your coffee on a Monday morning. You know, so please do invest in at least an external hard drive. What I've done, I bought this MacBook twice, and I'm a nerd like that. So this laptop was off the shelf, 6,000 euros. I bought it twice, and it saved my life. Because I cannot stress enough how important it is to back up your shit. Also, that goes for if you're working on a production, any track, any bit of music. No matter how unimportant you think it is, always save it. Save it as many times as you can. I still meet producers who keep saving the file as track. Or let's say you call your track Over the Moon, and they keep saving it as Over the Moon. And why don't you save it as version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, version 5? Why? Because if you use a plugin that's a little bit not really happy, then you cannot open your project anymore. So I don't understand why people keep saving their projects as the same name, and they keep doing Apple S, and then they save their files. And then they want to open their file a day later when they rebooted their MacBooks. And it doesn't open anymore. I've seen that happen so many times. So please, while you're producing, always save it as V1, V2, V3, V4, because those files are super tiny and they won't really mess up your MacBook. All right, so I get sent a lot of music. Preferably, I want it in 16-bit or 24-bit 44.1. That's my system. There's nothing wrong with 48 or 96K. I love that actually. But the Pioneer players, they're really a bit tricky with different bit rates and all that. So for me, it all starts with good old iTunes actually. And whenever I get a file...
Do you use iTunes as opposed to music?
Yes, I use iTunes. You can use any bit of software, but this is my player. So whenever I get an MP3, I drop it in iTunes. And I've made the setting so that everything that I put in iTunes and I convert here to WAV, this automatically converts everything you do to 44.1 16-bit. So whether you have a 48K or 90, sometimes you have a weird file that has a massive... that has a huge file size, just use iTunes and it converts everything nice and neatly to 16-bit 44.1. So my entire library has the same bitrate and the same thing, and that makes it really easy. So even MP3, I convert them to WAVs, because if you, the older versions of, for example, Ableton, they would also convert everything in the background to WAV anyway. So that's why I convert everything to 44.1 16K. So I just, on the way here, a friend of mine sent me a track. I don't even know if it's good, but that's my system. So I quickly listened to this track. I literally just got this. We're downloading on the way here. So here's the track. I'm not really sure if I want to play this, but at least I want to be ready. So I'm going to make this ready to put this in my music library. The way I start is by analyzing the BPM and the key. It's a bit boring. You can use several pieces of software. A lot of people love to use Mixing Key. DJ Studio does that as well. Amazing bit of software. I don't really trust Mixing Key. I hate to say this, but... there's a problem with software like that, because it does a really good job 99 out of 100 times, but there's 1 out of 100 times it goes wrong. So you try to analyze, and the software, Mixing Key, tries to analyze the key and the BPM of a track, and it just goes horribly wrong. I don't know if you guys ever saw on Beatport. I really do not understand why Beatport does that. There's a track of mine currently in the trance chart. It's, I think, with Vini Vici, the one that we worked on. It says it's 86 BPM when it's 144. I don't get that for a professional company like Beatport. Why does that go wrong? So my tip is always, as good as the software is that I'm going to show you today, always trust your own ears. Because if it goes wrong, it's your fault. It's not the software's fault, right? So that's why I never rely on that software. Not because I don't like the software. The software is there to help me. But in the end of the day, the fans that are dancing out there, they don't really care if the software is right or wrong, you know? So I use the software as the basis to analyze my music. And then, I double check that. I simply double check it. So for example, for this track, I'm using this little tool called Mixing Key Live. Let's fire it up. I'm going to just put it into listen. And it gives me the key of G minor 150. Okay. It's probably right. I guess this is right. But I just want to make sure that it's... So if you have a piano at home or a little harmonica or whatever, just make sure that it's actually... so I'm putting up Ableton. This is G minor. So now I know I've confirmed that it's actually G. You know, and I always do that. So no matter if I use DJ Studio, Mixed in Key, whatever software I use, I always double check if the key is correct. So let me double check again. Yep, it's not F, it's G. So now I know it's G. Then what I do, I know that this track was given to me by Ben Nicky. So I always use it like this. You can use the MP3 tags as well. If that's your system, it's fine. The way I've always learned to work is like this. So this is my system, artist, title, source file. So I know that the source that it came from was a WAV. Not a 320, not whatever. But if I ever want to use it for a mixed compilation and it says 320 or 256 or whatever bits, then I know that this is the source file was a WAV, so I can use it for reproduction. But if for example, if I want to publish a mix that I make with DJ Studio, then I can't use any MP3s. I have to use a WAV file. So if you upload a track that has a 320, you can do it, but it sounds, it's less information. So here we go. Then I say convert to WAV. Now I've converted it. It goes quickly. And it always goes to my hard drive. I made a shortcut here. There it is. Then I put it in my folder, Keyed 2024. I've never actually showed this to my fans, but here you go. It's the first time. So what I do per year, I organize all my music into 12 musical keys. I know you have the Camelot wheel. If you use the Camelot wheel, please feel free to do so. I've been using this system since 2004, so I'm sticking to this one, the old school. I know this is in 150 BPM, G minor. Now I'm putting it into the folder of G. So here are all my tracks in G minor. See how this already enhances my workflow. Now you see all my tracks of this year in G minor in one folder. So when it comes to 2025, I make a new folder, put the 12 keys in there. There's one little S for special. This could be like weird sounds or whatever I want to use. But no matter if I get an acapella, a track, whatever, even my edits that I do, I always put them in this folder. So in this folder, you will not only find the musical files, but you'll also find links to the files where I made my mashups, for example. I use a lot of Ableton to make mashups. And then what I do, once I'm done with that, now I know that the file's in the right place. I open Recordbox. I put it in this folder called Playable. And this is basically like the new music from October 2024. I'm going to add it to this folder, import it here, preparing. Cool. Now it starts analyzing. This will probably go well, but I always check if the software helps me with putting the grid in the right place. DJ Studio can do that for you as well. It's great for that. Sometimes actually, Recordbox gets it horribly wrong, and it puts the thing in the middle. So always double check if the grid that the software gives you is correct. In this case, it is. So now I have the track. It's ready to go. I like to use a lot of hot cues while I'm on the CDJ. So automatically, I already put hot cues in my system. So like on the basic points of the track, I make shortcuts. Put a B there if I want to jump to. If I want to completely skip this second break, I'm going to put the C here. So if I want to skip this entire second breakdown, I can go. So I do my edits mostly live. The reason for that is that I'm a little old school. I come from the days where I was just spinning vinyl in front of a crowd. I know there's nothing wrong with making this edit in any piece of software, but I just love to look at the crowd, and then I decide, maybe I don't want to play the second breakdown because I feel the energy is this tune isn't really working. So then I jump from B to C in the track, so you're not actually hearing the entire section between B and C. I'm just dropping, I'm moving a lot. So if you do that on the Pioneers, please make sure you put your quantize on. Okay, now I'll show you how I prepare my DJ sets. So, let's start a nice DJ set. Actually, I just came from Slam FM, the radio studio. Just did a little DJ set there. And they gave me roughly 1 hour to prepare my DJ set. So I've put these tracks in one folder in Recordbox. See, I've already put these. You see my system here. Everything is organized. First the artist, then the title, then what the source file is, a WAV, and then the BPM and the key that I've manually checked to make sure that it's absolutely D sharp minor. Most dance music is in minor, of course, that's the exception. If there's major, I put MAJ behind all the files, but most of the tracks are in the minor key. Then, to prepare a set, I love DJ Studio because it really helps me to prepare for a DJ set. I play big festivals, and unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of this, but they want all the big headliners, and they want them all for 1 hour because then they can sell more tickets, and it's just the way it is. So you either say yes or you say no, but if you say no, then you can't show up at the gig. So I'm not a fan of playing short sets. I'm a fan of playing longer DJ sets, but how do I approach playing a 1 hour set? Well, the DJ Studio helps me to really make my choices, prepare my set mentally. So now I'm going to show you what I really love about DJ Studio is that I'm going to press create a new mix, and I'm going to go for local files. And here you see it's already seeing Recordbox, which is what I love. Here are all my playlists. So this is actually the tree that comes from Recordbox. Let's go to my Slam FM set. Here's my Slam FM set. So I've already imported these tracks for the sake of time, but DJ Studio does an excellent job in importing those files. It helps me with the keys. This is a little different notation that I do, but these are all correct. There's no mistakes. The DJ Studio in this case is absolutely excellent for helping me with the transition. I'm actually really curious to see. There's one track. There's one track that I played yesterday that is in F, but it goes to G sharp minor at the end. It's a great track from Richard Durand. Let me see if I can find it. And this proves my point that you always need to double check. Here, this is the track. I'll play you the track, and then I'll see why DJ software and using DJ software to analyze your keys sometimes goes horribly wrong. So I start the track, and it says it's F. I can clearly hear the F minor key. This is the F, right? Great, fantastic. So the track starts playing. I'm pretty sure that this is 140 BPM. Goes straight. We're still in F. We're still in F. Breakdown. Still in F. F. Great, fantastic. Still in F. So the software says this track is F minor, and it's correct until this point. And then we go further on in the track. It ends in a different key. See? So it ends in G sharp. So we go from F to G sharp. And the software won't tell you that. It will tell you that this is F. But then you're in your transition and you're like, what? I thought it was F. And now it's G sharp. So that's why I always think that checking all your tracks manually, making sure the key that you're hearing is actually what's going on. Cool. So we're in Recordbox. I've prepared my set. I know about the weird transition. I'm going to select the tracks. I really want to play these tracks. These tracks. So I have 19 tracks. I have 1 hour, so roughly about, if I quickly mix, I don't know, should I make edits, whatever. So now I'm going to say add 19 tracks to the mix. Let's see if I can pull off a 1 hour set with 19 tracks. Here we go. So it starts to analyze. Ta-da! There's my mix. It's great bit of software. Creator's actually sitting right here. Maybe give him a round of applause. See, Brad. So yeah, the DJ Studio software has already given me a rough idea of if I'm going to make this set within an hour, and I love that about the software. It's really great. So I've prepared everything, and it's even helping me with automatically creating transitions. There's a lot of settings. This program is immense. There's so much you can do with it. You can even make mashups with that, but the time won't permit me to do that, and I work in a different way with mashups, but it's great for mashups as well. There's all kinds of bits and bobs. So yeah, DJ Studio is amazing to pre-plan your set. I never plan a set in a way that I exactly know. Some DJs do, and I don't look down on them at all. I think, you should prepare your set the way you want to prepare it. If you come, there's things to say about a pre-mixed set. I'm not really a fan of that, but I think there's nothing wrong with preparing your set, knowing if the length is okay. For this particular set, I just wanted to make sure in Rekordbox that these tracks were in it. So I don't know if you guys know a little bit about transitioning from one key to another. Maybe it's good to jump into that for a little bit.
Go there.
Well, DJ Studio helps you with that because right now it has already made this choice and it's helped me with creating this track list, and yes, already started the transitions. But if I'm really not sure if I want to use it, I can quickly just move around the tracks. It's pretty nice. Say like, oh no, I want this track to go here. I want to move it around. Maybe I want to put that one here. So I go into playlist. I say, no, I want that track to go here. I want this track to go here. I want that track to go here. And then it automatically rearranged the mix like that. So it's already done a lot of work for me, which is absolutely amazing. And you can see like, maybe I don't want that track as my second track. Maybe I want that as my third track. So DJ Studio can really quickly help you with that. And it's absolutely amazing. I love that. And even if you're like, nah, I'm not sure if I want this track to be in there, you can just skip it. Delete this track. Yes. Do I want that one? Yeah, cool. No, I don't want that one. Delete it. Maybe I want to add some more tracks. So it's super easy to kind of pre-program your set and think about your transitions. Think about what you want to bring and how you want to transition it. Look. So I want to make this transition shorter. Maybe I should only have one mix down. And then you can do a render in DJ Studio of your set to see if the flow of your set is what you're looking for. You want high energy, you want fast mixing, only one breakdown, one drop, and then go to the next one. Maybe you want to have a little bit more breathing space in your mix. So also to prepare yourself if you have an important set coming up. I don't know, maybe you're playing Ultra or maybe you're playing Tomorrowland or you finally get that big gig, an opening slot for another. The DJ Studio can really help you to sort of quickly make an arrangement and listen if it makes sense, if the set makes sense. Because now if I want to, I can press export, save the mix and make a quick render and just check out the mix. And what I love about it even more is that I can export it to Ableton. It's fantastic. So also, if I have to do a radio mix and I'm not really in the mood to make a radio mix, or you have a radio show and you're not really in the mood to make that mix and you have to draw every track into Ableton, you know how it is. It never does it right the first time with the warping. So always something goes wrong. DJ Studio helps you with preparing the warping, everything. So
does DJ Studio then sync back to Rekordbox?
Yeah, it can. But I mainly I use Rekordbox sort of as the starting point. Like, for example, if I would make a new DJ set that I have to play tonight, I would start with the date. I'm a nerd like that. So today is the Friday the 18th. I would say DJ set Amsterdam. Yeah. And then I open the second window and I start thinking about what tracks do I want to have in my DJ set. So that's how I usually start with preparing my sets. I'm like, I really want my new single with Oliver Heldens, Oliver Freedom. It's called Freedom. I have all these versions. Which version am I going to get? The non-explicit? No, it doesn't have to be the non-explicit. So I'm going to go for the extended mix. So I'm going to put that one in. I want my new single it's called Racing Spirit. Racing Spirit. There we go. I want the louder version here. There we go. So on and so forth. So I'm adding the tracks that I'm sure. I start with the tracks that I definitely want to be in my set. That track has to be in my set. But I can also use a set like this was my Tomorrowland Brazil set. And so I make a short list. I haven't played all these tracks, but when I go on stage at Tomorrowland in Brazil, I know I have 55 minutes to play, and I have 37 options in my folder of the tracks. I know my opening track, and I know the track after, but then it kind of like, I guess I'm a little old school like that. I never exactly know what I'm going to play. It really depends on what I feel and what I get back. But I want to be ready. I want to be ready that, if I feel that the crowd needs more energy, or I see the crowd's a bit flat, or should I put more high energy? Do you want to go up the BPMs a little bit faster? Then, I have my options in this set list. So I don't know what set I'm going to play tonight here in Amsterdam. But let's say it is a set that people only want to hear uplifting music. So I'm going to play only fast tracks, and so let's put a couple of tracks here in the folder. This one is nice. I like this one. My new track with Vini Vici is pretty cool. Alla Farben, love that track. Marlon sent me his remix of Swedish House Mafia, nice one. On Tune did a version of Adagio for Strings that I love. Of course, Blah 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 needs to be in there. Cool. So I want to go for an uplifting set, so I'm going to remove the track with Oliver because it's a bit more down tempo. So here's my uplifting set. I have 30 minutes. I'm going to close DJ Studio for now. Open it again. And then I want to delete the old mix. I'm going to go create mix, local files, and then I'm going to go to the folder I just created, which is DJ Set Amsterdam. Here we go. And then I'm going to select all the tracks. Yep. Add tracks to the mix. Here we go. It's analyzing the keys. It's pretty fast, huh? Love the M1. There you go. Here's my set for tonight. It's pretty much done. Now we can look at the transitions. I mean, DJ Studio has some great tools to see where you want to put your transition. You can hear if the transition will actually work when you do it in the CDJ live. So what you're hearing is already a transition. I've done a fast bass transition, but you can, in the software, you can have all kinds of transitions. Let me see how that works again.
So you can take out the bass like you were on, like if you're on decks.
Yeah, you can do that, which is which called a swap in the software. You can also use crossfade, so it's a different kind of transition. But then a transition just is different because it just fades it out basically and it fades the other one in. That's how I made a transition. So, of course, this is what you do with your EQs and your volumes. But you in DJ Studio can easily set your fade in, fade out, or swap, fades, everything. So it's very easy to help you with preparing. How am I going to make that transition? And will the transition sound cool if I do it this way? So it's pretty nice. So I can go over each individual transition, but I don't think we have the time to do that. This is how I prepared for my Ultra Miami set, my Tomorrowland set, and everything. And I say export. So it's going to be called DJ set Amsterdam. I'm going to save it. Here we go. Wow, it gives me several options. I can export it as an MP3, just to have a quick, when you want to go for a run, you want to go do some sports, whatever, you can check out your mix that you're going to play tonight. It's pretty easy, right? Or I can export it to Ableton, which is what I love. And then you can say like, okay, I want it vertical or horizontal. So you want to have a single lane per track, or you want to have multiple tracks in one lane. It's whatever you want. I think vertical is usually the best way to go because every track has a different EQing. So it helps you with that as well. So then I say export. Now it generates an ALS file.
If you're recording a radio show or a DJ mix, this would save so much time.
It would, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So now it's generating an ALS file. It takes a little bit, of course, because it needs to convert everything to the Ableton format. Here, there you go. It neatly opens DJ set Amsterdam that we just created. And here it is. Here's the folder with all the tracks, individual. And if I double-click the DJ set Amsterdam that we just created, I think it's going to open magically. There we go. It has magically created my mix. Is this a time saver or what?
Can we give this gentleman a round of applause for creating this bit of software? Amazing.
And of course, in Ableton, I can do the stuff that if you're using Ableton, I don't know if you're not, but it's a lot of fun. And then now I can go and sort of fix. This is the transition that we just created. There you go. It's magic, man.
Armin, if you're not on the road and you're at home or you're in the office and you have decks, will you ever run a set on the decks before
Absolutely.
you go on stage?
Yeah, because Pioneer often puts out software updates, and I always put in the root of my folder the latest software update for the CDJ 3000. So for my tour manager, it's super easy. Also, when I prepare my USB stick, I never rely on the link functionality between the Pioneers. I know a lot of you guys do, but I don't. So what I do, I make one USB with Rekordbox, and I put my files on there. And then I close Rekordbox, and I use this little tool called Carbon Copy Cloner. And then I just carbon copy clone one USB stick to the other. That's my best tip I can give you probably today. It's the best 40 euros. I think it's 50 euros. It's called Carbon Copy Cloner. Mike Bombich, you've done a great job. This is also the software, by the way, that I use to clone my entire MacBook. So I bought, next to the extra MacBook Pro I have an NVRAM of 8 terabytes. A small little thing that cost me like 1,200 euros. Best 1,200 euros I ever spent. Because if I go on tour, I quickly fire up Carbon Copy Cloner, and I clone all the drives within the MacBook. So if my MacBook gets stolen, it breaks, whatever, and it happened to me before. I had to rely on a backup. So this is great. But I also use it for cloning my USB. So I make one USB, and then I clone it from one USB to the other. You need a little dongle, but then you're set. So make sure your USB is formatted to FAT32. Pioneer still use that old format, so not Mac OS journaled or whatever. But there's so much to say about this. I could talk about this for hours, but that's kind of my system. That's how I work. So love DJ Studio. Amazing to work with. Great software to help you prepare your sets and help you prepare your radio shows or DJ mixes, whatever you want.
When it comes to intros for your set, how do you work on that?
Intro is always fun. If you have stems, it's quite easy to make an intro, actually. So what I do nowadays, also because all my tracks are now being rendered to Dolby Atmos, I'm kind of forced to render all my songs into multiple stems. And it's just fun to remove all the kicks and the basses and the percussion from the intro section and just have like the synths and stuff going and then just let everything loose at the drop. That's basically, to put a long story short, that's what I love to do. Yeah.
And you are literally one of the most organised people. I remember when we looked at your hard drive last year in production, it's exactly the same. I mean, I don't know about any other DJs, but I've never seen playlists like we have today. It's unbelievable. And obviously you're always planning ahead. The intricate detail in this is unbelievable. But are there any times recently where you've stood on stage and things have gone wrong? And if so, what was it and how did you get through it?
Last night on the radio show, actually. I switched DJ sets because we have two DJ sets in the radio studio, and one of them didn't have my settings loaded into them in the Pioneers. And I always use the quantize functionality because I love to shorten my tracks live. But if you do that, you have to make sure that the quantize is on and it's set to your settings. And I forgot to press load settings. So on the air, I was like, oh. So you rarely hear me do a mistake, but hey, I'm human, you know. But this system has worked for me tremendously all those years, you know. Making sure that everything's 44.1 16-bit. Pioneer will love you. Making sure that your naming, I know it's boring as hell. I know it really is boring as hell to put artist, song title, because you know when you buy a track on Beatport or when you get a promo, it's usually labeled different. And then in the title, sometimes you have the title section and it's only the title of the song. But I always delete all the MP3 tags and I always use it like this. Again, there's nothing wrong with using like what is actually meant to be used for, to put the artist name in artist and the title name to put the title there. So if that's the way you work, that's absolutely fine. I mean, don't change that. But I think it's important that you think of a system for yourself, how you want to prepare your DJ sets. Think of a system, don't change it. So I'm doing this per year and per keys. If there's another system that works better for you, if you want to use the Camelot wheel, a lot of DJs I see that they start with the key and then the name. Nothing wrong with that. I know by default, Mixed in Key, for example, has first the key and then the BPM. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would recommend always to have the same syntax. And I know it's a bit boring in the beginning, but when you start with a good organized laptop and you know where to find your files, it's going to make your life so much easier because you can always find the file and back up those folders. So I have these folders called Keyed. So my current folder is Keyed 2024. And I know that is a track that I might potentially play. And you can always find it. And it gives me the information about what year it was released. So a lot of times fans want to hear older tracks, and then I know what it is from. And if I want to start making mashups, I can use DJ Studio for that. But for now, I'm going to go to Ableton. And I want to show you, for example, I did this mashup. No, do we have a little bit of time? I want to show you.
We have time.
All right, I want to show you how I make a mashup. Maybe that's cool if you want to see. Okay, so here we are, blank thing. And here's my keyed folder. Don't know if you guys can see it. It's on the left. But there's my keyed folder that I just showed you guys. Now, one of the tracks of the year that I absolutely love is the Swedish House Mafia. It's let me see. I think it's A sharp. It must be there. Go to the S. Let me go. Here we go. So I've already used the software to extract the acapella. DJ Studio can do that excellent, by the way. So here's the acapella of the new Swedish House Mafia. So for reference, I'm going to import the original file as well, so I know exactly where the a cappella actually is. So on the grid of Ableton. So I'm going to import the original file as well, just for reference. And then I'm going to line it all up. I'm going to do it. You guys can watch how I do it. Because I've done my homework, I know that the track is 131 BPM. Because I've put it nice and neatly in that folder, and I've put the BPM behind it. So Ableton often makes mistakes when analyzing a track. Nothing wrong with that. The way I love to work is always with repitch. It's an old school pitch, so I don't use a lot of time stretching on my mashups or my year mixes. It just makes it sound a little bit more artificial. But again, there's nothing wrong with using that. But I put repitch as a default as warp mode. I put the first marker on the first kick drum and try to find one of the last ones. So this is all I do. I just make sure that it's exactly on the grid. So let's make sure, let's put the wonderful metronome of Ableton. I always use the first warping point and the last warping point. So now I know that this is correct. And now I can easily line up the a cappella. Now you see Ableton's trying to make sense of this, and it doesn't really make sense at the moment. So I'm going to switch off the warping, switch it on again, and put the first marker back at its original position, but making sure that the BPM is 131. And now I'm going to line up the a cappella with the original, so I know that I have the timing correct.
Time marches on, never ending. Time keeps its own time. And in those passing us by, and I
see, now it's completely in time. So now I can switch off the music, get rid of the original track. Now I only have the a cappella. We have a lot of stuff here. But now I know that it's always in the correct position of the song. It's 131 BPM. Here we go. And now the fun part starts. Because I prepared myself and I have all my tracks in A sharp minor, I can just start looking for a nice little song that fits that key. You know? So these are all my tracks from this year in 131 BPM. No, or sorry, in A sharp. And now let's see if I can find a nice track that we can make a mashup with. So, for example, I have this track by Leon Bollier. Is that a cool one? Can I use this? This is quickie. Oh, it's a nice track. It's kind of a cool vibe. But I see that this is 125 A sharp minor, and we know that the a cappella of the Swedish House Mafia and Alicia Keys track is 131 A sharp minor. Doesn't matter. I'm going to import it anyway. Here, put the track, and then go back to the boring first kick, last kick. So I want the music to sound unstretched. With vocals, I usually can get away with stretching a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lower the overall BPM to 125, which is the tempo of the musical track that I want to use. And here I have the a cappella. So if my theory is correct, this should sound amazing. It's both in A sharp minor. This is not yet time stretched because it's on repitch. I'm going to put it on complex or complex pro. So it's going to be stretching. And let's see if the acapella... So in theory, this should sound amazing, but I don't know if it works. Let's see if it works. Wait, I think I missed an intro beat. we go. See, it's not exactly on the one. I can hear it. Zoom in to see if I did that correctly. Yeah, here we go.
Time marches on, never ending. Time keeps its own time. Here we stand at beginning, and in those passing us by, and I can't dream for us all. Now I won't make the same mistake, time and time again.
It's fun, right? And oh, thank you. So, and now because we're in the folder anyway, I can just scroll through this folder and just see if I can find some other cool tracks. Maybe not, I'm going to use the entire track, but I'm just going to see if there's anything. Maybe there's a track with a rap or something cool, a little sound that I can add. So I'm not going to add the entire track, but because I know it's an A sharp minor, I can just drag it into the track. So let's see if I can find a nice track that maybe has a cool sample or something unique, maybe a drum loop or whatever, something recognizable from another track from this year or last year. No, let's do last year. Why not? We're here for shits and giggles. Come on, let's go. So let me just see. So here's a bunch of other. Oh, it's one of my track, an Own Boss remix of No Fun. Yeah, let's see if that's nice. Yeah, it's cool, but I'm looking for something more like maybe a vocal shout or something like that. I don't know. Charlotte de Witte track. So maybe a vocal shout. I need something with a cool vocal shout. Let me see. Is this cool? Is it a cool track? So this is all A sharp minor. What's this? I actually like this groove. I like this groove in the beginning. That could be cool, sort of to play around with that. So I'm going to import that. I know it's a different BPM. It's 127 A sharp. And Ableton's not helping me because it says it's 125, but I already know that it's 127. And because it's beats, I'm going to put this at beats 1/8. Let's see if it still sounds good if it's time stretching, but on the beats. So instead of this track dropping with the drop you just heard, I'm going to make it drop with that cool kind of groove that I just heard. So we're going to start again with the section you just heard, but instead of the drop that you just heard, I'm going to go on to the other track. Let's see if it works. So now, this is the way I make mashups. And just be creative, throw a bunch of tracks in and just, you know, fool around with it and just be creative. And this is where the fun starts. But everything starts, in my opinion, with a good organized library. And double, triple checking your keys and your and please do use the software to help you with that, but don't trust the software.
One thing before you go, because we're nearly running out of time. What's your tech rider for DJ sets?
It's fairly simple, actually. I switched to the V10 during COVID, the CDJ 3000. I love it. There's a new one coming, I heard. I'm really excited for that one. And the CDJ 1000, the sampler. Sometimes I think breaks can be a little bit boring. So I tend to put claps, drums, samples in the TGS 1000. It syncs up with, if you organize your record box and you make sure your grid is always in time, then it's great tool to add like live drums to. And I've especially if you're playing longer sets, or sometimes you have these breakdowns that are great, but then it sort of takes the energy away from the crowd a little bit. And I want to have a clap going or a snare or like a little kick drum, underneath it. So I actually always use, I have 16 samples with me all the time. So you see me using it a lot. actually. Yeah, so it's fairly simple, actually. I used to use the DB4 from Allen and Heath, but I think Pioneer is really caught up with this game. So yeah, that's how I prepare my DJ sets.
Love it. And we've got time. We've got literally 2 minutes, so time for 2 really quick questions. Does anyone want to ask a question? Go for it.
Sure. Oh, it's she's asking if there was a turning point in my career when I went from playing bars to, I guess it was my music. I'll tell you a little secret that in the beginning of my career, the clubs in the Netherlands didn't really want to book me. No, it was the UK embraced me fully, and for 3 years I just went up and down the UK and played every little club in the UK, and then because I was popular in the UK, then the clubs in the Netherlands started getting interested. So that was a pretty unique route for me, yeah. But I guess my music just helped because my music did well. Fans wanted to see me. They wanted to check out my. I think that's still is. I think the quickest way to the top. Sounds strange, right? You have to make music to be able to play music, but that's how it goes. I hope that answers the question. Yeah, I mean, there's many examples. Look at Mau P, for example, or Martin Garrix, or myself. I mean, we all got known because of our music, and you have to have a little bit of luck as well, especially now with the amount of music that's being released. My God, well, you have to shoot this guy called AI, I think, right now, because it's flooding the internet with so much junk. It's ridiculous, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Let's not go into that right now.
One last question. Go for it, mate.
It's a good question. He asked me how when I make an album or an EP, you mean like a compilation, for example? Yeah, well, that's when DJ Studio really comes in handy because you can quickly see. I mean, you can have 12 amazing tracks, but if you put them together, they can't make any sense. I mean, I think the job as a DJ is to make 1 + 1 is 3, because you play those 2 tracks in a row. You kind of add something extra. You have to try and make a story out of all these individual pieces of music. You're kind of a painter, but not with sounds, but with individual tracks. And that's why I love DJ Studio, because it helps you to sort of see if the flow of a mix, if you will, I think that's what you're talking about, right? A certain flow, yeah. So at DJ Studio, you can quickly see if the flow of a mix is good. So if you have 20 songs, you just put them in DJ Studio, and it quickly you can see if the transition makes sense. I mean, it can work harmonically amazingly, and I have to be honest with you as well. There's a little warning: harmonic mixing can be dull as hell. I mean, if you play like in G minor for like 2 hours, you'll be like, oh my God. So switching from keys sometimes, or just making a key that doesn't make sense with the key before, sometimes can be like a breath of fresh air. So please don't just continue using harmonic mixing. I mean, yeah, I use it a lot, harmonic mixing, but sometimes I just go from A sharp minor to G, whatever, because sometimes it's like, oh wait, another key, wow, But because the groove is still going on, you can still tell the story. But yeah, it's a little hard to really say if a mix flows. I mean, I guess that's really up to you if you think a mix flows. I mean, God, honestly, if I do a mix, I just think, all right, maybe they'll like this, and 9 out of 10 times they like it, but I'm not really sure sometimes. But yeah, I just do my best. And like I said, DJ Studio can quickly help you to see like if this order of a mix makes sense, and yeah, helps you.
Huge thank you for this.
Somebody with a desperate question.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So you actually like play 2 tracks in a row, and then the software does the transition.
Well, when I do it live, I do it myself, of course. Yeah. No, there's DJs that do that, and again, no disrespect to them. I don't want to be in any arguments, But yeah, I do all my mixing live. I know that there's many DJs that mix like 3-4 songs in a row and then just play that. No comment on that.
Armin, thank you so much for today. It's been absolutely amazing. I'm sure everyone's learnt so much. Can we just give Armin a massive round of applause? Thank you so much.